So just a small clarification. I have time up to 6:30 to speak, right? उसके बाद we can take up questions वगैरह जो भी है.
Yes, ma'am. मतलब चल रही है.
चालू करूं मैं?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll start.
My voice is clearly audible, right?
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay.
So I'll start the session. Okay.
Yeah.
Just welcome to all the participants we have today with us. So on behalf of WIRC and Jyoti Ayya, welcome you all to the Prerna Series. Let me introduce our today's speaker, CA Priya Madrecha, who will be guiding us on various practice management softwares. Priya is an ex-KPMG, is a qualified CA as well as CS with an All India rank. She is currently the director in Madrecha Solutions. She has handled assignments involving fund structuring and tax implications of international jurisdictions like Singapore, Mauritius, Netherlands, amongst others. She also has experience of dealing with cross-border legal and tax regimes. Being a CA herself, she is no stranger to the issues commonly faced by CA practitioners. Madrecha Solutions is a software company providing services to CA firms. She has a knack for automation and she handles data transformation related engagements. She has helped more than 2000 CA firms successfully transform their business from being people oriented to system oriented. In her current profile, she also specializes in data privacy law. She has flair for writing and has contributed numerous articles for various newspapers and magazines, both national and international. She has contributed multiple times for the ICI magazines as well. She is a regular author for various websites. We welcome you for the today's session, Ms. Priya. Over to you.
Thank you, Jyoti ji, for the wonderful introduction. It has indeed been a week full of knowledge impart. We have had many wonderful sessions and speakers since Monday. Prerna Series, the brainchild of our young and dynamic chairman, CA Arpit Kabra, has been aimed at empowering and enlightening women chartered accountants. We thank him for this thoughtful action. So moving further to my topic for the day, practice management software and how it has become a necessity for organizing and scaling up your practice in today's time. Welcome, everyone. A small disclaimer before we begin. All logos are copyright of respective companies. Recommendations about any software is a personal opinion. Consider this as editor's choice. Use your professional skepticism while choosing any software for your use. Icons are courtesy of iconarchive.com and flaticon.com. Now you might be wondering why a young looking lady is taking a seminar on this practice management. Shouldn't the topic on practice management be covered by someone who has like 30 plus years of experience into practice? Why should you listen to my suggestions on practice management? In the next 30 seconds, let me guide you why you should be listening to me for the next 1.5 hours. So I have had experience of observing practice of various scales. During my articleship, when I joined, it was a small firm wherein when we started, we were around 10 people. And by the time around 3.5 years later, when I left the organization, we were around 40 people. So the firm had witnessed phenomenal growth. And in my third year of articleship, being a senior, I experienced the challenges faced when we stick to traditional methods of management with a larger team. Then after qualification, when I joined KPMG, I saw some of the most matured systems in place over there. A 100+ year old organization, I saw it how it invests and implements system for a truly world-class experience. Then at our own firm, systems being already in place, we could witness A higher growth with a much limited increase in the team size. With a limited increase in number of team members, because there were systems in place, we could achieve a very high growth. The ultimate objective of today's session is how we can shift our practice from being people oriented to system oriented. And when we talk about shifting our practice, it involves basically two aspects. One is, when we think about shifting it, we know that we are in a profession where employee turnover is huge. We see a constant churn in the employees. Every month we are having some employee coming and leaving. Plus, this shifting has to be smooth without disrupting our existing work, existing process. We are so bundled with compliances that every month we have some or the other due date. And a system change cannot disrupt all those things. It has to go simultaneously hand in hand. So we will try to see how we can bring this change with minimum disruption to the existing workflows. Let me begin by asking you a simple question. What is the count of TDS payment? Or maybe say if you are into GST return filing, then how many GST returns are pending to be filed for this month? You call 3 team members from your office, ask them the same question. And how confident are you that each of them will give you the same answer? And that same answer has to be correct as well. So if all the 3 team members gives you some different answer, then they are not referring to some common data sheet for answering you. The source of their answer is different. By asking this question, we are trying to analyze two things basically. First thing, how quick are they able to answer you? How fast can they respond to their queries? And second, are they answering you the correct? So if they are answering you correct, they are referring to some data sheet, or is it just a guess? By hunch, are they giving you the correct answer, or are they looking at some maybe say Excel sheet, diary, system, software, anything it could be. So if they are guessing this, then there is a problem. Every time it might not be correct. And if they are answering your question by looking at some common data sheet, then it brings you to your next question. How confident are you of that data sheet? By confident, I mean how fast or how quickly is that data sheet being updated? Are you very sure that when you ask this question 1 hour later, the answer will still be correct? Everything that has been done in this 1 hour has been updated. So if all the team members are referring at the same data sheet and they know where exactly to refer, then you are already at the first level of maturity of implementing any system. So there are various stages of implementation of a system. Let's cover it one by one. When we say first level of maturity, so this is the very basic of implementing it in any system. When we talk about data set, let's take a very super simple example. Say around a decade or maybe 2 decades earlier, what the principal used to do, they had one diary in which they used to record everything that was happening, written filings done, pending. Everybody used to report to the principal. The principal used to update it in the diary. There was only one source of truth, and the system was working perfectly well. So for that system to work, there were two main requirements. First thing, the team size was comparatively smaller. And second, everybody was working from the office. So basically, this diary concept will not work. It has 3 limitations basically. Everybody cannot update it. Only the principal or the main person has that diary, he'll be updating it. You do not have remote access to that. So if you are not working from office, then it becomes difficult. And the third thing is there is no backup of that. But that still worked around say 15-20 years earlier. But in today's time, having a diary will no longer work for you. No matter the size of the organization, you will at least need a bare minimum Excel spreadsheet to track everything. Yeah, so when I mean an Excel spreadsheet, It could be anything, an online sheet or an offline sheet. By online sheet, what I mean is online sheet basically, if you are using online Excel spreadsheet, then there has to be two things. First thing, it is updated on a real time basis. Every information is available, and all the team members know where to look up for that information. So that's what we mean by update and report. By update, we means updating it on the real time basis, looking up to the correct information. The report basically entails whatever question you ask to the spreadsheet, it will shall be able to give you that answer. So do that activity tomorrow in your office and see where you stand. How many returns are pending for this month? Maybe you can start with this simple activity. Having achieved first level maturity, when we move further, say if your team is growing comparatively and you need exact, you were tracking so far by Excel sheets, but someday you find that somebody has marked as return being filed. But 4 months down the line, it comes to your notice that it has actually not been filed. Then what do you do in this case? Whom do you hold accountable? How do you know who is responsible for this? So for that, you basically need audit log. Audit log covers two things. One, when the change was made, and second, who actually made that change. So as and when your team grows and when you start working remotely, which is very common in today's time, so you might be working on the go while traveling to and fro from office, or maybe at a remote location from your home or from client location anywhere. But at the end, the work needs to be done and you need to have a proper tracking of that. So that is what when we talk about audit log, you need to have every information about what changes are being made when and who is making that change. When we talk about bird's eye view, so there might be many things going in your office on a daily basis. And as a proprietor, owner, partner, you need not be aware of each and every little thing that is happening. If I have to frame bird's eye view in one sentence, I'll simply say, bring out the things to me which need my attention. Or maybe show me only those things which need my attention. So that is what when we talk about bird's eye view. We are not dwelling into each and every little aspect, but at the same time, we are not ignoring the things that we need our attention. So this will also give you some free time for taking up new clients. Or maybe if you do not want clients, you already have a lot of clients, then pursuing some hobby maybe. So I'll be showing you some of these screens. These are actual office screens. What I mean by bird's eye view, if you can see, for the month of April, we had 61 GST returns which have been completed. So everything over here is color coded and the colors are there at the top. 4 returns that are still going, 2 returns which have been ignored, and 9 returns which are stuck. So if I want more details as an owner of the organization, if I want to dwell further, so I will click on these numbers and I'll simply get a list of 61 returns which are done. But I know that my team members are efficient enough to do this thing and I did not get into it. What needs my attention is this yellow and red color. Why these returns are ignored and why are they stuck? Is there anything which needs to be done from my end to mark the return and to complete it? So this kind of actions where we are actually needed, we should be acting upon that. Similarly, this is at the organization level. But as and when our team grows, when we become multiple people, we bring in the concept of team leader. This is what when I talk about team leader. So if I am the junior team member, I'll see all data relating only to myself, only my. If I am the manager or the leader, I'll see the data at the manager or the leader level. For my team, I'll see how many things are done, how many are pending, at what stage they are pending. And being the owner, proprietor, partner, I'll see it for the entire organization. So this will basically help team members also to have a better control of their team, track in a better manner what all is going on for your team and at what step do you stay. This kind of dashboards are very essential in today's time for any decision making. I'll show you a couple of more. So this is the calendar view. In our office, we have made it a point as and when every team member comes to office in the morning, first thing they need to see is their calendar view. Depending at what position you are, if you are the junior team member, see it just for yourself. Being a manager, see it for the entire organization, or owner for the entire organization or respective team, as the case may be. This calendar gives a superimposed view of all the future due dates. Say, for instance, if I am on the 2nd of the month, so I know that tomorrow there are 5 tasks which have due dates. So I need to click on this 5 and see, is there anything that needs to be done? Matlab, everything is at the right place. Will it be completed till tomorrow or any further action is needed? Similarly, I can see that on one, there was one task which had a target date, but that is not yet completed. So I have to see why it has not been completed, what has to be done to complete it. And maybe if I plan on taking leave next week, so I can see that on the 7th and 8th of the month, I have certain tasks which needs to be done. So before taking leave, I will ensure that all these tasks are either completed at my end or maybe reallocated to some other team member so that in my absence, the work doesn't suffer. Everything can be seen and accordingly plans can be made. All due dates of tasks, reminders, earrings on a single calendar. It will also help me to prioritize my work, which due dates are nearing, which work I need to take on priority basis at the same time. Is there any requirement for sitting late, doing overtime or anything? So I believe for any organization, no matter what the size of your organization is, having this kind of calendar is very essential. This is yet another written. So what it shows is when we were talking about audit log, some slides back, audit log, which guides you basically who made the change and when the change was made. So this kind of dashboard gives me that statistics. So if you can see on 19th May, one task was assigned to Spruti by Nitya. Then the same task was assigned to Dhanashri. Then the due date of the task was changed from 31st July to 30th September. Then again it was changed on 30th September to 31st October by Dhanashri. We can see that she has put in some comment as well that client will be making payment within next 2-3 days. And finally, we can see that status has been changed of the task from going to completed. So over here, I can see the name of the person also who has changed that task. So if something, God forbid, goes wrong with that client in future, I know whom to catch hold of. I know that she is the one who has done everything relating to that task. And even I have the all the logs as well as the date, respective date on which the changes were made. It becomes very easy for me to plan at the organization level. Moving further, so we spoke about 2 levels of maturity so far. The first level was the basic data set. You need to have one single source of truth. That source of truth has to be updated on a real time basis. When we move one step further, we need audit logs, who and when is making that change, and bird's eye view. As the owner, what all things require my attention. Then we move one step further. In the third level of maturity, we talk about stages. So there are many tasks basically. Say if I have to take the example, super simple example of a GST return. GST return is a monthly thing and we divide that return. One single return, GST return, will be divided into multiple stages for better tracking. Some example of stages can be like first stage can be receiving the data from the client, doing accounting entry, tax computation, making tax payment and filing the return. So these are basically the 4 stages involved in GST return filing. I know that task is not completed, but I even need to know at what stage it is not completed. Client has sent the data, computation entries, accounting entries has been done in our office. Tax computation is pending and return filing is pending. So when we move further, having achieved basic level of maturity, we will try to achieve more maturity wherein we will directly pinpoint at the stage level. Similarly, when we talk about target date, what we mean over here is like in your office, based on the past record, say you fetch out the details of last 6 months, you will have the details when the client is submitting the books for doing accounting work. And based on that past data, you can classify your clients into early comers and late comers. So early comers are someone who gives you the data immediately after the end of the month. So maybe over there you can have target date of filing the return before say 5th of the month. And for late comers, the actual due date itself will be the target dates. By doing this exercise, you are ensuring that you are not overburdened at the last moment. Half of your work has already been completed at the target date set by you, and only half of the work where clients themselves are latecomers, we know that we need to drag them till the actual due date. I believe that if every organization implements it, it will ultimately help them to manage better, take up new work. The problem currently that many of us are facing is we are not able to take much of a compliance work because our employees are already overburdened because of this monthly written filing and everything. But if you have proper system in place, you can effectively use it and onboard new clients as well. So these are some of the screens of our office showing how actually we divide it. So we have divided a particular task into stages, and at each stage we mark whether it has been completed or it is pending, what things are pending. More importantly, this slide. Don't you find it very informative? That by seeing at one simple diagram, I can analyze for how many clients the returns records have been received and how many clients the entries have actually been done. Moreover, I can judge the time that it actually takes for my organization to receive the records and actually processing the data. This kind of charts are really very insightful for the team leaders as well as the owner. And at individual level also, they are able to judge their work in a better fashion. So this chart themselves looks so appealing that your team may want to see it on a daily basis. Moving further, once you have achieved third level of maturity, what you will be doing is at this stage, you will be asking direct pinpointed questions to your team. Like so far, your questions were how many returns have been done, how many returns are pending. Now, your actual question based on the data will be out of these 75 records received for a particular month for all the clients, for how many the maybe accounting entries have been done. So you know that you have received 75 clients data. Now you are asking your team member out of those 75 for how many have you completed the accounting work. Next question maybe you will ask is say for 65 clients for whom the accounting work has been done, for how many have you done tax computation? Are you getting my point? Imagine where we are heading to. Starting with a basic question, we are directly heading to advanced questions, and our team should be able to reply to those advanced questions. Then we can say that we have the systems in place. So what I mean by analytics is I'll be asking my team members. So at the organization level, I'll be judging what is the average time it takes for my team from receiving the data till the computation of tax. This is one question. Now let me reframe that question. What is the average time team member wise from receiving the data to the computation of tax? Are you understanding the difference? And just imagine the intelligence level where we are heading to. First, you are asking pinpointed question to your team, and then that pinpointing questions involves analytics, statistics, which your team is able to reply with perfect source of truth. So there are obviously this is till fourth level of maturity. There are level 5 and level 6 as well. But in my view, even if we are able to achieve these four levels of maturity, the organization has placed itself for a higher growth in the long run. And it is, if you see that it is not something very difficult. If you go step by step, it is definitely achievable. Once you have the right source of data, everybody looks up to that source for answering the question. Then the next step will obviously be dividing it into stages and then pinpointed questions. If you have the data source, why can't you ask the right question? And if you ask the right question to your team, you are bound to get right answer from them. This is another dashboard. So if you see that, let's take the example of Dhanashri. At the beginning of the day today, she had 292 tasks in her hand. By task, I mean work. 172 new work were assigned to her. She completed 104, and at the end of the day, she has 360 pending work. Similarly, if I am to take other examples, say this Krutika. At the beginning, she had 31 work. She was assigned 14 new, and in the entire day, she just completed one. So at the end, she has 44. Now, if I want to dwell further into this, I can obviously click on these numbers and get an insight. So again, I do it as an owner, I have access to everybody's data. So I see it for everyone. Maybe if I have a team leader divided into department wise, then maybe that team leader will see it for his team only. And this individual, Krutika, who is a junior level employee, when she comes in, she'll see this on a daily basis for herself only. So she'll also have an understanding of where she stands at the end of the day. So she knows she has 44 tasks which are still pending. And if next day she is planning to go on leave, she should have that much maturity that if any task has due date tomorrow, she should be assigning it to someone else or making sure that it is completed before she leaves. This kind of analysis definitely helps. I believe everyone will be agreeing to me. Then this is yet another statistics. So say I'm on the 1st of the July. I have fetched data for next 2 weeks till 17 July, and I can see team member wise how much work each needs to do and what kind of work they need to do, whether it is accounting, GST, IT, certification, notice reply. So this is basically giving me an idea of team member wise, work wise pressure. For the next 2 weeks, these are the things that need to be completed by these respective team members. And work is divided into whatever work you do for your organization. Now, having spoken about system implementation, but how do you actually do it? I would like to quote a small phrase. No war was ever won without winning battles. No war was ever won without winning battles. What I mean by this is, after today's session, you feel, wow, this is very nice. Even we can implement this system. But you cannot do it overnight. No matter how hard you try, it is not just possible for you to do it in one day. Implementing a system is a long-term goal. You need to set milestones, small milestones. Put date to each milestone. Track the progress, whether you are on path, whether you can achieve it on date. And the most important aspect, celebrate the success of that milestone once you achieve it. This is important. Celebrating the success is very important because your team members will feel motivated to achieve the next milestone. If you achieve one milestone, that doesn't mean that it is done. You have implemented proper system, everything is going on smoothly, and in future also everything will go on smoothly. It is not like that. It is a constant effort, and for doing this constant effort, team needs certain kind of motivation. Now let's look at some of the features of a successful system. What things we implement when we implement a system? First of all, we'll speak about managed sharing. What does this mean? By this, I mean that team members who are involved in the engagement or the assignment should have access to all information relating to that assignment. Plus, at the same time, team members who are not part of the assignment should not have information of it. So, do you understand my point? We are covering two aspects simultaneously. First thing is, in short, if I have to say, the person who should be given access to the data should have access to it. And talking about the confidentiality angle, the person who shouldn't have access should not be given access. This is what we mean by the concept of managed sharing. You should have a proper system in place which will take care of this requirement that you are providing right information to the right person. Nowadays, we do have access to client sensitive information, and we need to make sure that this sensitive information is kept confidential. Bird's eye view, as discussed earlier. In short, bird's eye view means point out the things which need my attention. Bring out the things, show me the statistics where I need to be involved. So you ask question, you get answer. Analyze where your involvement is required and devote more time to that activity rather than overlooking everything. This is how we will progress in the long term. Single source of truth. This also we discussed earlier. Having one single source of truth is very essential, no matter whether it is an online spreadsheet or any software or system. But everybody should be looking up to the same set of data and answering the same. When you ask one question to them, they should be looking to the same data and giving you the same answer. Deadline chasing. In our profession, we do not have the liberty to set due dates. Deadline chasing is nothing new for us. We have been doing it since ages and we will continue to do it for another more decades. So, what I mean for deadline chasing over here is you should not be the only one who is chasing deadlines. Each and every team member should have visibility to the deadline. They should be knowing that, okay, next week I have this due dates. I need to complete that work before the due date. Give that liberty and freedom to your employees. Let them have an eye on the due dates and let them chase it rather than you chasing them. Let them chase the due dates. Team collaboration. Let me show you one another slide which will explain this in a better manner. What can you see over here? This is Formula One pit stop. So during the race, the car comes to a halt at one location and the entire fuel tank is refilled and all the tires are changed. So do you have an idea how much time does it take for this entire activity? Refilling the fuel tank, changing all the tires. Any guesses? So let me tell you, the world record for this is 2.9 seconds. Can you imagine the level of team collaboration? Within 3 seconds, they are able to do this humongous task of refilling the entire fuel tank, changing all the four tires, and making the vehicle go back. That's what we need in our organization. We want our teams to be highly collaborative. Say, for example, if a junior team member has done accounting for any particular client, then they just need not sit and wait कि okay अच्छा senior will get free, वो check करेंगे accounting, they will do computation, written file करेंगे. This is not the approach how it should be. You have completed one client, just pass it on to the senior. Let the senior take his action. You start working on another client. If this is done, then only we achieve the efficiency level that we are talking about. मतलब you need to have a system कि हाँ एक जूनियर का काम हो गया है, he is automatically marking it in the system, senior को notification आ रहा है, he knows that he have to pick up these things. Transparent actionables. So whatever work is assigned to team members, keep it open. Why I am saying this is like, say for example, if you are assigning 45 tasks to a particular employee, what he'll feel, oh my god, 45 tasks, how will I be able to complete this? But at the same time, when he sees that his colleague has been assigned 49 tasks, now what does he feel? Oh yeah, this is achievable. So having open actionable is always beneficial for the organization. It will help in team collaboration, at the same time motivate team members that this is achievable. So your team is working on some particular task, but how do you know that they are going in the right direction? There can be two scenarios when you track their efficiency. First thing, your team member is not efficient enough. They are taking more time than it is actually expected. So in that case, either the team member is inefficient, he doesn't know how to do his work, he needs better training, better guidance. Yeah, the second scenario can be the work of the client has actually increased. Client का काम double हो गया है. So the team member is taking more time. In that case, you need to keep an eye on the fees. You will revise the fees. And instead of waiting for the entire financial year खत्म होने के बाद मैं client को बोलूंगी कि अरे your work has doubled तो अभी हमें fees के लिए वापस बैठना पड़ेगा, we need to revise your fees. He will not entertain me that time. But when I pinpoint him at the right time, right now his work has doubled. I call and tell him right now, Kisi, listen, your work has almost double. Now we are spending double time on your work, so we need to rediscuss on the fees. He will happily agree to it because he knows actually his work has double. Maybe he might have gained some new clients, new assignments, and he'll be happy to pay you that time because he himself is getting higher revenue. Progress tracking, this is again very important, like we discussed. Tracking each and every milestone is important. Similarly, over here, you need to track the progress of the organization. You need to devise a mechanism which will help you to track progress. That mechanism can be anything. How you want to track progress of team member wise, entire team wise, entire organization wise. You can devise various parameters and see where your organization is standing on those parameters. Now, so far we have understood what are the levels of maturity, हमें किस maturity level पे पहुंचना है to achieve perfect efficiency level, और क्या क्या system के features है, what are the requirements of this system that we need to have. We want to implement all these things, but there will be challenges in implementation. And what is the most difficult aspect, most difficult part of implementing a system? Any guesses? It is indeed the most difficult aspect. You will always face reluctance from your team when you try to implement any system. It is very clear that change is always difficult and change is not always acceptable to everyone. You need to have the confidence of your team when you bring in a new system. And how can you ensure that? How will you ensure that you have minimum reluctance from your team? So this reluctance cannot be omitted altogether. At best, what you can try to do is reduce the level of reluctance. And how can you reduce it? Team members might feel, oh, अरे यार, this new system, if they implement it, ये बहुत difficult होगा. Will I be able to learn it? अगर मैं नहीं सीख पाया तो क्या होगा मेरे जॉब का? मेरी सैलरी का इंक्रीमेंट करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे? वो लोग सिस्टम लेके आ गए, अगर सब कुछ सिस्टम से इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है तो हाउ विल आई प्रोग्रेस? It is very essential to train your employees, provide them with the necessary skill sets, provide them with the necessary knowledge, training, guidance, coaching. You have to spend time on this to ensure that you have the support of people of your organization. If we do not have the support of the people, system is bound to fail. Now going further, how do you track things? So basically, task management is the heart of every system that you implement. Why are you implementing a system? Because you know that there are multiple things going on in your organization and you need to have a track of everything that is happening. So how do you keep a track of everything? First of all, every client work needs to be tracked. No matter how big or small the client is, or how big or small the work is for that matter. Everything that you are doing for a particular client needs to be tracked properly. ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ चलो टुडे द क्लाइंट हैज कम, अरे मुझे बहुत जल्दी है, मुझे फटाफट सर्टिफिकेशन बना के दे दो, मैं बना के लाया हूँ, आप साइन करके दे दो एंड ही गोज आउट. इट डजंट वर्क लाइक दैट. You need to put it in your system ताकि future में when you sit with that client for some revisions वगैरह, तो you can at least make him count कि see we are bothered about you, we have done your regular work and apart from that whenever you needed our help, अब certification वगैरह के लिए आए थे तब we did it on priority basis for you. And how will you do this? You have to give unique code to each task. So in further, whenever you have to search that task also, so you can do it easily. अगर टास्क का नंबर या कोड या यूनिक आइडेंटिफिकेशन नहीं है तो इट विल बिकम वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू कि गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, मतलब 2 years बैक मैंने इस क्लाइंट के लिए क्या काम किया था, हाउ डू आई सर्च इट? In many times the work is not something which can be done in a couple of hours. It will go on for days or might be even months. So in that case, you have to divide it into smaller actions. Smaller actionables on each stage. जैसे stages का concept which we discussed earlier. Divide task into stages and mark each stage or each milestone as complete so that you know कि okay, out of one task which involves 7 steps, I have already done 4. मतलब I am already halfway through. Now I need to focus on completing it as soon as possible because I have already done 60% of that task. Client master. So we spoke about task management, now client master. When we talk about client master, we asked 2 questions over here. सबसे पहले तो why do we need a client master? And अगर need है तो how do we create a client master? Coming to the first question, why do we need a client master? क्यों required है client master? हमें पता है, we have it in our registers कि हाँ मेरे पास ये क्लाइंट है, मुझे पता है न्यू क्लाइंट्स आते हैं, एड ऑन होते जाते हैं रजिस्टर्स में, या रजिस्टर्स में नहीं, आई हैव सम रिटन फाइलिंग सॉफ्टवेयर, जीनियस है इनकम टैक्स के लिए, केडीके है, एनीथिंग, आई जस्ट ऐड क्लाइंट्स ऑन दैट एंड हो गया. इट हैज अ बिगर पिक्चर ओवर हियर. क्लाइंट मास्टर इज नीडेड फॉर वेरियस रीजन. सबसे पहले तो यू कैन यूज इट फॉर ब्रांडिंग. मतलब इफ दैट क्लाइंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, उसकी मार्केट में अगर कोई वैल्यू है तो यू कैन डेफिनेटली ब्रांड इट to create a better impact for your organization. Plus, in future, you can consider providing him additional services. It is possible that over the years, you yourself will grow. You will expand the pool of services that you offer. And at the same time, the client will also grow and client will have requirement for additional services. Currently, आप मे बी अगर ट्रेडिशनल प्रैक्टिस में हो, you might be doing just accounting, written filing, उतने ही आप limited हो. But it is quite possible that over the years, you might pick up new things like forensic auditing, valuations, anything. And you cannot let any client go to other people for this work. You yourself will be doing it in future. अगर आपके पास ready client master है, you know which clients to reach out to if you are starting any new service. Advertisement या बाहर के client procure करने से better internal client से you can generate better revenue. Third thing, if you are trying to procure more clients, आप कुछ बड़ा client onboard करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, and you already have some of the bigger names, then that is definitely very helpful. Trust me, from my personal experience, I have seen that using the connects of existing clients definitely helps in procuring new clients. So, having said, why do we need a client master? Now, how do we create a client master? Manual registers तो definitely no है for client masters. Then what is workable? Excel sheets is fine. To some extent, it was fine. But over a period of time, it will become redundant. Everything cannot be managed through your traditional Excel sheets. Then what? Written filing software? I agree. Written filing software will have all information relating to your client. But then again, it will not capture all clients' data at single place. So for some client, you might be doing income tax return for which you have a separate software. For some GST return, yet another software. For some TDS, yet another software. ROC compliance, another software. So whenever you want one single client master, how many softwares are you going to look up for? It is technically just not possible for you to look up to multiple softwares for fetching one information. You need one single source of truth. This is where the role of a practice management software comes into place. And this is what most mature organizations have been doing. Timesheets. So now many of us will say कि no, this concept is not useful for me. I have tried it many times. मेरे ऑफिस में वर्क करता ही नहीं है कभी एम्प्लॉयज को टाइम शीट बनने के लिए कितना भी बोलो दे डू इट फॉर 1 week अगेन दे स्टॉप डूइंग इट कितना उनके पीछे पड़ने का देयर यूजुअल आंसर इज कि हमारे काम ही पूरे नहीं हो रहे सर व्हेन डू वी फील टाइम शीट वो एक्स्ट्रा टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है आप खुद देख रहे हो एवरी मंथ ड्यू डेट्स है so the employees will have n number of reasons for not doing this thing. But you, as the owner, partner, proprietor, should have n number of reasons for making your employees do this thing. So, what many organizations have done, they have even made filling of timesheets mandatory. So, the day you have not filled in your timesheet, you are counted as absent for that day. While processing salary, you are not given salary for that day. That is a stricter approach, but many organizations have implemented it, including ours. And let me tell you, it is working perfectly fine. No matter how much we tried to tell them earlier when it was not linked to their salary, they always had reasons. Now, when it is linked to their salary, at that time also they have due dates every month. That time also they are doing a lot of work, over occupied hai वगैरह, फिर भी they are filling timesheets. We have given them the liberty. We have implemented system. उनको mobile app दिया है कि ठीक है, we understand you are very occupied यहाँ पे. So going home, you take on an average bare minimum 20 minutes any employees take to reach their home. So during the 20 minutes, just open your mobile. आपने आज पूरे दिन में क्या किया, you will be remembering. सबकी मेमोरी इतनी तो है कि पहले का कल का याद नहीं है, बट आज जो जो किया है वो तो याद है. Just punch it. And main purpose क्या है when implementing this concept, we need to take our employees into confidence कि ये टाइम शीट हम इसलिए इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर रहे कि वी कैन सी कि और ऑन अ डेली बेसिस यू आर वर्किंग फॉर 8 आवर्स और नॉट. इफ नॉट, अगर आधा घंटा भी कम है तो व्हाट हैव यू डन ड्यूरिंग दैट 8 आवर्स. दैट इज नॉट द पर्पस ऑफ टाइम शीट. Time sheet is to benefit the entire organization as well as the employee. You will be charging each and every work to a particular client. किसी भी क्लाइंट के लिए आपने कुछ काम किया है तो वो काम उस क्लाइंट को चार्ज होना चाहिए. Not a single work you do for any client should go unaccounted. Even if I am spending 10 minutes for any client, I need to charge that 10 minutes to him. So that at the end जब हम profitability वगैरह की बात करते हैं, cost per hour, profitability, we have the exact statistics कि किसके basis पे हमको बात करनी है. Charging hours to every task is mandatory. Each and every team member must follow it. And मतलब इसमें अगर synergy नहीं है, each and every team member is not following it, so let me tell you, it is a waste. And you need to start this with yourself. मार्केट मैंडेटरी, आपके लिए भी टाइम शीट भरना उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंट है एज एन ओनर जितना आपके एम्प्लॉयज के लिए है. सो व्हेन यू आर सिटिंग विद दैट क्लाइंट फ्यूचर में कि अच्छा यू हैव स्पेंड 20 आवर्स फॉर दिस क्लाइंट वगैरह, तो एम्प्लॉयज का टाइम तो फिर भी कम रेट है, उनकी पर आवर चार्जेबिलिटी रेट विल बी लेस. इफ इट इज 2000 पर आवर, योर रेट विल बी 7000 पर आवर. You cannot let that go unaccounted for. Even if you are spending half an hour for any client, punch it in the system. Let it appear. When you sit for analytics, let it be shown to everyone that even you have spent time for that client. So when you sit with him for negotiation, you have an upper hand. This is what I was saying. So you can see that for this Mr. D, 3 years back, for accounting work, I was spending 20 hours. And now my team is spending 40 hours 3 years later for the same work. Why? Again, two reasons. Your team member has become inefficient. They need training, guidance. How can they take double the time for the same work? Second thing, the work of the client has actually increased. You need a revision and fees. You need to call the client and say, Arey boss, your work is taking double the time for my team. So you need to come to my office. We need to discuss certain criteria. Why it is taking double time? What has changed in your business? Has your business doubled? Have your data entries doubled? So we need to accordingly discuss. So अगर 20 hours का it was taking 25 hours, still it would have been acceptable मेरे लिए कि I know कि ठीक है, मे बी उस साल में मतलब मे बी सीनियर टीम मेंबर मट हैव डन या अकाउंटिंग एंट्रीज कम थी या सिस्टम अलग था. एवरीथिंग इज एक्सेप्टेबल कि हाँ दिस फ्लक्चुएशन ऑफ अप टू 20% इज एक्सेप्टेबल. But double the hours is not acceptable for any organization and for any client. These dashboards will definitely help you to take quick actions. Similarly, you can analyze it. This I was trying to analyze task wise. सिर्फ accounting work के लिए हमने ये analyze किया. Similarly, दूसरे काम के लिए भी your time has increased or not, you can analyze, and at the organization level, then you can see कि पूरे client को Mr. D इस D के काम के लिए 3 years back it was taking me total say 60 hours. Now it is taking me 100 hours. Some communication with the client is required at this stage. उसको बताना जरूरी है कि you are consuming more of our time. We need something extra from you. Then this is something which many of us face on a daily basis. हर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ऐसा कोई ना कोई एम्प्लॉय होगा जो लेट आते हैं on a regular basis. And when you tell them, अरे यार you have been coming late very frequently, this is not acceptable, he'll say, नहीं मैम, नहीं सर, I was late just for 2 days in this month. मैं सिर्फ 2 बार लेट आया था, बाकी डेज पे तो I was on time. या नहीं नहीं, सिर्फ इस हफ्ते में ही मैं लेट आया, लास्ट वीक तो I was on time every day. तो what do you reply that time? That is not the right approach to question any team member. This is the right approach. You do not question them anything. You just show them the data. You can see my office timing is 10 o'clock. 10:30 तक कोई भी staff आ जाए, that is also acceptable. Half an hour delay, we are allowing it. But you can see that this person, Smruti, she was present for 25 days and her average end time is 11:15. So on a daily basis, she is coming to office late for around say 1 hour 15 minutes. 1 hour 15 minutes is a big time. I am losing that much productivity. And without the presence of a proper data, I cannot tell it to her ki you have been coming late on a daily basis. This average, when I show it to her, this is her end time marked by herself. So what will she say at that time? She cannot deny me, nahi, nahi, arey, I was on time on a daily basis. So इस week में मेरा late हुआ. This is not about this week. This is about the entire month. Arey boss, you have been late for the entire month on an average. Maybe 1 or 2 days you were on time, but regularly you were late only. And this policy is not acceptable. It brings a bad impact on the other employees as well. What will they start feeling gradually? Ki it is fine to come late. You are just saying once and it is getting ignored. Nobody is bothered about it, what time you come. As long as you are coming, it is just fine. This should not be the attitude that we will be working with in the long run. Engagement letter. So off late, earlier what used to happen is like big fours or maybe say larger firms. They used to sign engagement letter for every work, and smaller firms never had the concept of engagement letter. Smaller or mid-sized firms never had this concept, and they were doing all the work smoothly. But of late, our CA Institute, as well as if you see all the regional council members or central council members, they have been insisting that you get an engagement letter signed for every work that you do for a client. Every assignment, no matter how big or small it is, should be communicated and written via an engagement letter. Why? Why do we need this? Because if you have a signed engagement letter, the scope of your work is clearly defined. This thing many of us might have faced in our daily life. कि मतलब we are doing one work for the client, पूरे साल का उसका contract है, ये चीजें defined है, we will be doing this 4 returns, 12 returns, जो भी है. But apart from that, we end up doing extra work for that client. And this is very common with each of us. Each one of us have faced it with multiple clients. So how do you avoid that? You know कि you need to do only this. Starting में you will feel कि हाँ, this signing of engagement letter and all, this is very time consuming process. I'm already in short of time. Why should I start this new thing of signing engagement letter, spending extra time? आज मैं client को भेजूंगी, he will send it to me after 2 days. Sign करने के बाद उसमें भी वो लोग बोलेंगे नो नो अभी ये नया क्यों साइन करना है वगैरह. But no matter it is time consuming in the start, but you will definitely realize the benefits of it in the long run. Signed engagement letter for every aspect will define your processes better. It will help you to define the flow of the work. ये चीजें आपको करनी है इस client के लिए और किस flow में करनी है, you will understand. Help in better HR management. बेटर मैनेजमेंट ऑफ टीम मेंबर्स. रिसोर्सेज कितने अलोकेट करने हैं आपके पास बेटर आइडिया रहेगा. आपकी फीस, स्कोप, एवरीथिंग इज डिफाइंड फ्रॉम डे वन. प्लस if something goes wrong, you have recourse to legal action. Legal protection you have. The scope is in your control. Many times you are not able to refuse it. मतलब कुछ बार तो हम refuse नहीं कर पाते. It's because of our repo with the client we are not able to refuse him. And sometimes we are not able to refuse him because the scope which was discussed, हम दोनों भी उस scope पे clear नहीं है. The client will say कि नहीं नहीं, this thing was included. You have to make project reports and give me. That is included in the yearly package. And I am of the view that this is not included. But how do I make it sure? How do I bring it to him ki nahi, not included hai, this thing was never included, you need to pay me extra for that. Because my team will be spending extra hours, extra efforts for that work. This is when engagement letter comes to your rescue. It will be clearly be mentioned in the engagement letter कि project report वगैरह करना included है या नहीं है, and both the parties have signed it. So when you show it to the client, you will simply say कि I do not mind this extra work for you doing extra work, but you can see this is not included in our existing work, so we will need something extra. That something extra क्या रहेगा, you can mutually decide depending on the hours you are investing उसके लिए, plus आपका उसके साथ repo कैसा है, that is your call. Then how to decide fees? आप कैसे fees decide करते हो in your organization? So it is one simple package for everyone. जैसे if you do GST returns for a particular client, साल के 12 return है, 12 returns you have in a year, monthly returns, and it is flat 5,000 per return, so it is say 60,000 yearly package. This is how it is for all your clients. If yes, then this is not the right approach. I will agree each and every client does not need a separate package. जैसे out of आपके पास अगर 100 clients है, तो maybe 50 clients के लिए ये bundled approach will work कि it is this flat rate. If you pay me entire amount in advance, I'll give you some discount or something. Otherwise, this 60,000 is our flat rate for GST returns. But for the remaining 50 clients, you will have to design a custom pricing. Why a custom pricing? There will be multiple reasons for it. First thing, उस क्लाइंट का आपके साथ रेपो अलग है, ही हैज बीन देयर विद यू सिंस द स्टार्ट, मे बी उसके लिए आप कुछ अलग कंसेशन कंसिडर करते हो, या इफ ही इज नॉट अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्लाइंट बट उसके कनेक्ट्स अच्छे हैं, वो रेगुलरली आपको न्यू क्लाइंट्स लाके देता रहता है, तो अगेन यू विल गिव लिबर्टी टू दैट क्लाइंट. थर्ड, क्लाइंट भले ही छोटा है लेकिन उसके अकाउंटिंग एंट्रीज या कैलकुलेशन वगैरह में इतने सारे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस है कि योर टीम मेंबर्स आर स्पेंडिंग डबल द टाइम वो यूजुअली स्पेंड करते हैं. मतलब इफ दे शुड बी स्पेंडिंग 2 hours फॉर अकाउंटिंग वर्क फॉर एनी पर्टिकुलर क्लाइंट, इस क्लाइंट के लिए उनको 4 घंटे लग जाते हैं. तो इन दैट केस योर पैटर्न ऑफ डिसाइडिंग द फीस विल बी डिफरेंट. Time estimate, this is what when we mean estimating the time that you will be taking for a particular client. And how you will be estimating the time? If it is a new client, so obviously it will be an approximate basis for the first year. फिर जब आप actually उसका काम करोगे तब you will have for the next year, you will have past records कि अरे मैंने इतना time लगाया था. But for those who are your existing clients, past data already आपके पास available है. You know कि past में आपने उसके लिए कितना time लगाया है. Draw meaningful conclusions out of it. वो analytics को बाहर निकालो. Previous period में so far how much I am invested, the same amount is expected to be invested in future. Past में I have spent 10 hours more or less, इस साल भी I approximate basis पे I feel that 10 to 12 hours I am going to spend. What is the recovery rate? 10 hours, when I say I spent 10 hours for this client, so this is not giving me a clear picture. What more I need? Spend 10 hours that you got to know, but who has spent that 10 hours? 10 hours of a first year article is not comparable with 10 hours of a third year article. Mind it, and everybody might have understood my sentence what I mean. First year article अगर 10 hours लगा रहा है, that is still acceptable, लेकिन वो 10 hours अगर किसी client के लिए third year article या maybe say a qualified chartered accountant is spending same number of hours, it is not the same thing. Your recovery rate for each and every employee is different. And the hours that each and every employee put will be different. So your fees will be an approximate factor of all these factors considered together. How much time you spent plus That time is being spent by whom? A qualified person, chartered accountant, या first level article, semi qualified. Every person's time will have different value. So based on all the statistics, you will be deciding on the fees for a particular client. This is the same compliance dashboard which I showed you earlier. You will be comparing the time charged. Like for this client, I was spending 20 hours 3 years back, and now I am spending 40 hours. So I know ki fees cannot be same. 3 years back, what I was charging to this client, I cannot charge him the same now 3 years later as well. This is what I mean when we were talking about recovery rate and everything. So every employee will have some predefined rate, which will be your standard cost. So you expect ki for a particular work, maybe if that works involve 10 hours of efforts, 5 hours the junior most team person will be spending, 3 hours the senior will be spending, and 2 hours maybe the qualified person will be spending. So total of 10 hours. So based on the different cost for each and every employee, your standard cost will come and how many hours you actually spent. How many hours was spent by whom? Quite possible that the junior has spent only 3 hours, the senior has spent 5 hours, and the qualified has spent another 3, 4 hours. Then your actual cost will be very different from what you have estimated. And it will give you an estimate of the profit or a loss. So this profit and loss can be computed at the client level, or maybe if you are doing multiple members from the same family, then you will want to see this data even at the group level. Fee collection tips. Having said everything, we have decided how much money, how much fees we should be charging to the client. But how do we actually recover that in a timely manner? First of all, we will be classifying clients, whether that work that we are doing for them, it is done on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, annual basis. If we are doing something for them on a monthly basis, make it a point to recover from them every month. Do not put the billing on hold. You are spending time every month, so ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि at the end of the year you are sitting and then they are paying you the fees, you are following up and all. Classify services, whether it is a recurring service, some service which needs advance, या when it will be given. जैसे कि रिटर्न फाइलिंग है, मे बी अपॉन कंप्लीशन ऑफ द वर्क क्लाइंट विल बी पेइंग यू. प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट्स वगैरह कुछ है तो even at the initial stage you will be taking some advance. Similarly, certification वगैरह कुछ है periodic है. As soon as that work is done, you need to bill him for the fees and he has to pay you for that fees. आज उसके लिए आपने कुछ certification किया and 3 months later आप return file करोगे तो don't put that entire fees on hold for the 3 months. Charge it in parts. That's where you will achieve better fee collection for your entire organization. Tell him ki we have completed this thing for you today. This work is already completed. It is different from what we will be doing 3 months later. Written filing is different, so pay us at least for that much. Sit with your senior staff or whoever takes care of billing. Sit with them on a weekly basis. Trust me, if you do this exercise weekly, your collection will definitely improve. Sit with them on a weekly basis. Weekly, I mean, make it mandatory every week, fix some day. You need to sit for 2 hours. No matter how busy you are, you need to sit for 2 hours for billing. If you have a proper thing, proper list, what all recoveries are to be done, then only you will be able to recover it. In the absence of a proper list in front of you, you yourself are not aware. Acha, lot of money is pending to be recovered from client. For what? And from which client? You need to have proper data. Then only you will have the confidence ki, Are, call up that client right now. Why he has not paid for this all work we has done for him. Proper data will definitely be help you to be in a better position while making recovery. Moving further. So this was about all system setup वगैरह. आपको कैसे धीरे धीरे maturity levels, how you need to achieve, what are the essential prerequisites, क्या main features होने चाहिए of a good system, effective system, how do you actually implement it, human angle को आप कैसे confidence में लोगे and everything. So that was all when we talk about system setup. Now we come to the next aspect of communication. When I say communication, I mean communication between team members. Internal office communication. So what do we do for internal office communication? Many of us will simply say WhatsApp. This is what majority of the CA firms use for internal team communication. But it is a strict no. WhatsApp is not the right method for internal team communication. Why? First of all, you need to have that thin line between personal and office messages. So if all your communication is on WhatsApp, your team will not be able to distinguish it. How will you distinguish कि हाँ अगर communication WhatsApp पे हो रहा है, so it will definitely mix personal and office work. अगर वो office work के लिए if he's taking mobile in his hand, just not possible कि he'll not spend 5 minutes on personal messages as well. Whenever he takes mobile in his hand, he'll definitely look at the personal messages. That leads to loss of time. And it is anyways not suited for office communication. जैसे कि when you have some WhatsApp group बना हुआ है आपका ऑफिस का, you have assigned some task to somebody. In future, how do you track कि इस team member के नाम पे क्या assign किया है? There is no option in WhatsApp to filter it team wise or person wise or task wise. We need specific communication tools for that. And WhatsApp usually have large groups, which leads to loss of focus. So what is to be used for team communication then, if not WhatsApp? There are many communication tools. I have listed just few of them which I have personally used. Discord, Microsoft Teams, and Slack. So of all the three options, I am more in favor of Discord because we basically use it for our internal team communication. And I'll tell you why. So first of all, you will feel that array yaar, already we are spending so much on the system. Why do we need to spend this extra amount on communication, another communication tool? So let me tell you that everything over here is not chargeable. There are free versions of Discord as well as Slack. But why I am preferring Discord is because Slack के जो free version है, that has many limitations, whereas Discord का free version is sufficient enough to take care of your office needs. Whatever internal communication, whatever means, channel focus groups, channel sharing of files, audio, video calls that we need to do, everything is available in the free version of Discord. So these communication tools are specifically created for team communication. They have better user interface, better control. You can give permissions to sensitive chats if you do not want everybody to have access to it. You can obviously define that. Then you can create focus groups called channels. It has amazing search functionality. See, if we were talking about कि in WhatsApp, मतलब how will you search 1 month later? कि इस team member को क्या क्या दिया था and what all has done. That thing can be done in Discord. You can filter it team member wise, date wise, work wise. Every option is there. And matlab, if any organization does internal emails for assigning work, I feel that unless we are of the size of Big Four, internal team emails is not really required. This team communication can very well be taken care of by this communication channels. Plus everything over here has audio calls, video calls, file sharing of all sizes, all formats. Microsoft Teams is also good specifically for people who have paid license of Office 365. I would suggest them to specifically use only Microsoft Teams. because this paid version of Office 365 allows you to share files even in offline mode if you use Microsoft Teams. So it is very well integrated, both the features. This was about team communication. Moving further, what about the email communication? So, team communication is for your internal team members, email communication is for clients. And at the organization level, try to restrict team communication to emails as much as possible. Don't बोलते ना, don't encourage emails for every little thing, because वो इतने spam आने लगेंगे, फिर your team members will feel bogged down. They will feel not even read emails after a certain point of time. They'll feel कि अरे यार ये रोज का है, मतलब so many email comes, आया होगा जाने दो, and many times emails will just be unread in their inbox. Emails are to be used specifically only for client communication. There are various ways for that: Freshdesk, Zohodesk, Zendesk. These are only few of the tools that I have listed. Again, why do we need these tools for email? We have one common office email ID that is working perfectly well. हमको कोई email भेजना है client को, तो we just put the client ID, अपनी common office email ID है, उससे email चला जाता है. Similarly, when client wants to send us something, client के पास अपनी office की email ID है, वो भेजता है, सबके system में वो email ID open है. Anybody who sees it replies to it या takes action. ये तो हो गया. But think of it, is this going to continue traditional method what you follow? How foreseeable is that in the long run? उसको और आप कितने साल चला सकते हो सेम मेथड को? नाउ वन क्लाइंट का कुछ काम करना था, उसने रिकॉर्ड्स भेज दिए हैं, रिटर्न फाइल करना था, आई हैव फाइल द रिटर्न, आई हैव सेंट हिम द एक्नॉलेजमेंट वगैरह सब कुछ. 1 year लेटर जब नोटिस आता है, तब पता चलता है कि यू हैव फाइल द रॉन्ग रिटर्न, यू हैव नॉट कंसिडर्ड सम एस्पेक्ट्स, डिमांड आ गई है भरने को वगैरह. तो whom will you held accountable that time? How will you know कि ये रिप्लाई किसने किया है क्लाइंट को? That is where this systems come into play. So again, everything has a free version over here, and free version will very well take care of your basic requirements. So in Freshdesk, if I have to particularly say, so one common email ID will be there for the office from where the email goes and where the email comes, client sends. But that thing, when you reply it client के लिए, वो reply common office की email ID से आया है. But internally आपके पास data रहता है कि which of your team member has replied to that. किसने reply किया है वो चीज का. All the logs, audit log जो हम पहले system के लिए बात कर रहे थे, same is applicable for the client as well. I know client को गलत information किसने दी है. I know which team member to catch hold of. So I guess that was from my end. Now, if we have any questions, we can take it up from the audience. Can we open the session to the audience for asking questions? So maybe if anyone has any questions, they can ask it by unmuting themselves, or they can put it in the chat section as well. So we have some comments in the chat section. There is a message from Kuldeep. Very well presented. You have conveyed need of the hour to be more organized. Thank you, Kuldeep. I'm glad that you liked it and you have something to take back. For curiosity, I'm asking, you have written data automation. So basically by data automation, we means creating pivot sheets, applying some filter data, providing the exact reports that the clients need. So we understand the requirement of the clients and then provide them with the exact solutions. If they need some customized solutions, we develop it for them as well. We have a software company and have developers as well. So depending on the client requirement, we provide them services.
Hi, Priya.
Yeah.
I have some question. Uh, how about integration of this practice management software with our other tools, say TDS1, Winman, or the daily practice management, the other tools which we use?
Actually, to answer this question, some of the tools can be integrated, but for any CA organization to work, there are basically 3, 4 categories of softwares that we have to use. And complete integration is just not possible. So even Big Four have not been able to achieve complete integration ki just one system is working for every need. So maybe if you are doing varied kind of work in your organization, so bare minimum 3 kind of software you will be using. One will be if you do accounting work, to accounting ke liye you will have different software like majority earlier used Tally. Now Zoho books where people are shifting to other means. Then one will be for your written filing, depending on what kind of work you are doing. IT के लिए अलग, GST के लिए अलग, TDS के लिए अलग, ROC वगैरह के लिए अलग. And this third category comes in the practice management software, जिसका मेन पर्पस है टू हेल्प यू improve overall efficiency of your organization. This is more of internal team management rather than client management.
Got it too. Like for example, if I have a client master, right? This can be imported from system. That way at the most, this
Yes,
integration.
yes, that thing basically all the software allowed. So every software that is available in India has the option of importing data from Excel and re-exporting the data again to Excel. So
Correct,
that
correct.
thing can be done.
And because the billing when we do the billing, the client master,
Mhm.
as you explained, the time estimation and all that, all these three things can be if it is in sync, uh, the solution provided, this way. So I think
Yes, yes.
this feature will be there, right?
Yeah, those are solutions that are available currently. So majority of them have this inbuilt billing option in the software itself. So you know कि task complete हुआ है, it will automatically go for billing. And billing at the group level is there, at the client level is there, at the task level is there. Depending on your needs, आपको कैसे billing करना है, that is there more or less in every software.
This helps too.
Any more questions that we have? I have one question in the chat section where Hetal has asked name of the practice management software that I have used in my slides. So it is basically Jamku, Jamku. Jamku practice management software. We use it in our office. Another message from Hetal. Thank you, ma'am. Very value addition session it was. I'm glad, Hetal, that you liked it, and I hope you implement some of these suggestions for your office. We have yet another question. How much time will be devoted to data entry in the practice management software on an average? So basically, the time that you need to devote will depend on what exactly you are doing. In my opinion, no employee should be spending more than 15 minutes or max 20 minutes in a day on the software. Initially, when you start using the software, obviously the time that you devote will be more because most of your time will go in learning the system. Plus, there will be some task which you will be doing it in the software for the first time. But month on month, when you do those tasks, those are all repetitive tasks or you call recurring tasks. So those recurring tasks will not take much time then because many softwares have the option of auto task creation month on month, or if not auto task creation, bulk task creation, like you copy paste these tasks of the previous month to the next month. So no team member should be spending more than 15 to 20 minutes. Plus, every software more or less has a mobile app, so it is handy for you while coming and going the calendar view that we were talking about, so that everybody can see it while coming to office on the way. Timesheets can be filled while going back to home from the office. Anything else we need to cover? Any further questions? Nikita, do we have any further questions?
I just checked.
Yeah.
I would request all the participants, if you all have any further questions, please type in the message or you all can raise up. Thank you, Tulsi. Anybody else? We'll wait for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Meanwhile, Priya, I would like to
Yeah.
understand further on this. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like, at what frequency the data sets need to be updated? Maybe it is client master or say task master. How exactly it works around?
So basically, the client master will be updated just once at the beginning. When you start using the software, whatever clients you have it across various platforms, say Excel sheets or your written filing softwares, वगैरह, all those clients you will be collating and bringing it into the software. And you will not be manually feeding all these clients. Like I said, every software has the import option available. You will be pasting it in the Excel sheet, and from Excel, it will be imported into the software. This will be for your clients which are already existing, and on a daily basis or maybe monthly, yearly, whenever you add new clients, those will be hardly one or two clients at the moment. So those clients you will be feeding the data manually in the software. It does not need import as such. So creating client master is a one time activity. Regarding the task, non-recurring tasks, they will have to be created as and when you get that work, like certification work, you are receiving it from any client, you will create tasks for that and that. And for the recurring task, first time when you create it, it will be a bigger job because you'll have to create it for every client. But next month onwards or next year onwards, if it is IT written filing, it will be yearly basis. So you will copy paste it from the last year. You need not do any manual thing. Similarly, for GST, if it is monthly, you will be copy pasting it or pulling in the same data from the last month. And these softwares also have an option that you can copy paste the task along with the same team members. So team member also, you need not assign them every month you do this task.
Great, great. Okay. And also, what I also recollected, can deliverables also be stored in the software?
Yes, yes.
All right. So it has a tagging and it may be
Yeah,
linked
it
to some
has a
cloud storage.
yeah, it allows cloud storage, and many softwares even have an option that you can give access to your clients and allow clients also to upload and download the documents. Say if you want to call certain information from the clients, you'll just request them that share across this information. They will log in into their portal, upload bank passbook or any other account entries that you need, and your team members will simply download it and start working on it. Similarly, it goes if client needs any acknowledgement copy, anything, you will upload it and he'll download it. So it works both ways.
It's really helpful. So I believe that there would be some link which will be shared to the client or wherein that
Yeah. So different software have different functionality. Some work with the help of a link. Some directly have a client portal itself, like how your team members will be logging it. Similarly, client will have their own user ID password. They will log in. They will have an interface and they can use it for their purpose. They can see what all activities are going on relating to them.
okay, so it has a client interface option as well.
Yes. Majority of them has, few don't have.
Okay, and this particular one which you have one.
Yeah, it has.
I hope there are no further questions. I'll take this opportunity to thank our speaker Priya for bringing this valuable contribution in the Prerna series on the practice management software. This is like the very real need of the hour. Although the current firms do, as you said, like they do it on paperwork and all that. Even in fact, I've worked in Big Four. We still use Excel files. At times, there are tools available, but again, there are people who are certain rely on those Excel tools and all that. But the insights which you have brought into this software, how it is going to help in the team monitoring the team efficiency perspective, monitoring the deliverables given to the client, helping on the billing part, then on the analytics part, on the bird's eye view part, timesheet and all. I think it's a really wonderful solution, and I think each one of us should look towards it and implement somewhere in the practice. Either we are leading a practice or whether we are managing a team. It is really helpful around that. On behalf of WRC and all the participants, I would thank you, and I sincerely appreciate your efforts towards bringing out the solution today.
I am glad it has been liked by the participants and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. I believe with this we can end our session for today.
Sure.